Before I put in my question, you said you tried to play football back in the US. So that was the pain point to say, okay, you know what? I'm feeling this pain point. I can turn this pain into a product, into a business, and help other people. How did you start out? Was it because of that pain you felt or that need?
At that point, I wasn't aware that that was a general pain point. I have released products. I have started some business that didn't actually have a pain point. Right when I left that business, that was 2018, we felt that what we were delivering to the market was still small, considering what could be delivered in terms of scouting. And startups were a big hit at that point, but AI was not. If it was today, the concept would be 100% different.
Hello, everyone. This is a brand new episode of the Ball Business Podcast. Today, we have one of the best men in the business. He's wearing multiple hats. He's an entrepreneur. He's done quite a lot of great products, one of which is the most popular one in football, the scouting app, when AI, when technology is not disruptive. He did it with grit, with a lot of experience. Before I mention his name, he's operated as a consultant. So, of course, he's very well known in the business of what he's doing. Like I said, he was also a director at Cruzeiro, EC Academy, and he has done quite a lot of good things in football. He co-founded the Next Academy as well. We scaled around 30 branches across Brazil. It's come to Portugal, and also the American PDL. Who is the best person to talk about the business of football, if not Felipe Piovesana? I hope I pronounced your name well, my friend.
You did. That was perfect, and thank you for the kind introduction. It's a big pleasure to be here with you, and I hope I can contribute with some ideas, and I hope this is good for everyone watching.
Thank you so much. A little bit of icebreaker. It's around 27 degrees here in Sheffield. What's like the bit of weather there now in Brazil? Are you in Brazil or under part?
I am in Brazil. I'm in Rio de Janeiro right now, which is probably similar, around 27. The difference is people here think it's very cold. That's the biggest difference, probably. People here think it's very cold and it reaches 25, 24. So, but we're fine. I mean, it's good weather. It's good weather. I'm glad you guys are in good weather as well.
Thank you so much. If we can have 25 every day on this part of the world, especially during this period, it's so nice. You see everybody going out, everybody having fun. It's a very good family time. Yeah, so we'll just get into it. Like I did, if you missed the introduction, I'm going to introduce Felipe again to you. Felipe is a businessman, and for the real sense of the word business. He's an entrepreneur, he's a founder as well, and also, most importantly, he's a consultant. That makes this episode even very, very interesting because it's going to be deep diving into the world of football, into the business of the game, off the pitch, what makes football what it is today. My first question, Felipe, is you've operated as all of this, you've won multiple awards, entrepreneur, a scouting app founder. Tech now in sport is growing. Just recently, you are a director at Cruzeiro for a big academy. When you look back, when is that single moment or decision that puts all of this in motion? For a lot of people, say, okay, if you're starting a business, you need a business plan. But for you, how did you get into this and grow so big in this industry?
Well, thank you. First of all, I mean, as an entrepreneur, and you mentioned really well, most people will tell you need a big plan. You need to make sure to have a long term view of what you're doing. But the reality is that, especially when you're starting, especially in your first business adventure, it takes more of courage and just putting your face to it than a plan itself. Because in the end, I mean, if I can share a little bit of the story of my first business, which was Next Academy, as you mentioned, I not many years before that, I was a college soccer athlete as well in the United States. So that was 2012 and 2013 to 14. We started a business to help. We just wanted to help other people, such as ourselves, to get the same opportunity that we did. Uh, Nowadays, that in Brazil is very popular. People already know that that's a possibility to be scouted by American colleges, American high schools, but uh, 10 to 15 years ago, 13 years ago to be exact, that wasn't a reality. So we just wanted to help people, and we started. And we started, and as things start going, you see that you need a plan. You you find some walls. You hit your face into some walls, and you're like, you know what? Maybe I need to plan myself better. Maybe I need to be more organized. And of course, uh, during the past 13 years, I exited that business. I've started others, and as you become more and more experienced, you know exactly the time that you need to plan, and the time that you just need to put your head down and sell and make things happen, and reach good agreements with clubs, with bigger business than yourself, and just execute. Just execute is very important, but um, what I think what really differentiates my group, myself, is the ability of seeing what happens in other countries and trying to connect the world, trying to make the world closer for players, for coaches, for academies that want to experience something different, and that's something that I've been doing.
You said quite a lot of good things that we are even going to touch point on in future or later on in the podcast. One of the things that resonated well with me is first is courage. And you did say it took a lot of courage, and you also putting your face out to it. Before I put in my question, another thing that does strike me is you said you tried to play football back in the US. So that was the pain point to say, okay, you know what? I'm feeling this pain point. I can turn this pain into a product, into a business, and help other people. For a lot of people that ask us, okay, Fumbi, ball business, I'm an agent because most of our clients are agents, parents. How do I get into the real business of football aside from, just being an agent? So for you, I don't know, how did you start out? Was it because of that pain you felt or that need? Or you just said, okay, I'm an academy football player on the side where I play football. Let me just do this business because we have a lot of footballers who do that now. So how can you answer that question and also help give advice to our audience in terms of getting to know what business to start?
That's a very good question. And yes, it was a pain point. It was a pain point. The only thing is that I have to mention that at that point, I wasn't aware that that was a general pain point. It was just something that I, like I said, I had felt that when I was younger. And I knew that there were other people that could benefit from such a product. Um, if I'm being very, very honest, yeah, during this last 13 years, almost 15 years, I have released products. I have started some business that didn't actually have a pain point, and that's the biggest mistake you can make. Sometimes you want to almost create a pain point that doesn't exist because you have a solution to another or problem that either
Yeah.
it does not exist or it just affects a very small number of people, so it won't become a business itself. So 100% pain point is a word that, and is an expression that we use a lot, and during we can't only tell the successes and things that went correct. So for the things that went wrong, some of them were exactly because pain points were not there, or maybe they weren't there at that moment. So that's something that an entrepreneur really needs to be able to analyze in a very cold way, in a very rational way. Is what I'm doing really interesting, really important for a large number of people, or is it just something that I think it's cool, it's nice, it's nice. I have something nice, so I want to do it, but maybe people won't pay you for that, or nobody's gonna pay your ecosystem for that. So, 100%, it was a pain point, and we found out more of a pain point as the business was being developed 100%.
Wow. One thing I just learned from what you said is when there's no pain point, don't try to create something
Exactly.
that does not really exist. It's just like selling
Exactly.
water to people who live on ice. The
It
business is going to fail just as it's starting.
is
We're still going to
100.
touch point on the business.
Hmm.
So from starting the next academy, I want to believe that was it.
Yeah.
At the initial stage, which was the first business.
Hmm.
Scouting for me, the scouting app, we have a whole lot of them. Now we have them Y Scouts, Afri Scouts,
Yes.
to name a few. But
Hmm.
you did yours when
Yeah.
technology was not this easy, when it was not all over the place now.
Hmm.
That must have taken a lot of grits. How did you, get into that? Then when did you say, you know what, I'm going to develop this app? When did you feel that there was a need or a pain point for that?
Nice, nice. That was right when I left Next Academy, because in the end, Next Academy served as a development business for players and a scouting business for those who wanted to be scouted by American colleges and high schools, like I said. So right when I left that business, that was 2018. Me and a group of partners, we felt that what we were delivering to the market was still small considering what could be delivered in terms of scouting, because we were only looking at that niche of players who wanted or who had the ability, even financial ability, social ability, technical ability, academic ability to go to the United States and study and play. But the universe of football is way bigger than that. So we decided to create a scouting app to try to democratize this the scarcity problem, especially in countries such as Brazil. Brazil is a very large country, very very large country. So it is common for you to have players that could have been scouted, but they don't get the exposure. They don't get the chance because they're very far away from big centers. They live in small cities. They live in small communities. So we wanted to use technology to approach clubs that were always looking for the best players and players that were looking for opportunities. So, and you are very correct when you say that. I mean, startups were a big hit at that point, but AI was not. We, AI
Yeah.
was. We weren't talking about AI a lot. So, if it was today, it would be the concept would be 100% different. It would be AI scouting, which, like I said, there's a lot of solutions right now for that. So, we try to use uh, many coaches that were evaluating players, so we would be able to deliver good reports for clubs. We had partnerships with clubs. We built a partnership with La Liga that wanted to have a scouting event in Brazil. So it was interesting. It was interesting, but I do feel, like you said, that it wasn't the right timing. It wasn't the right timing. I wish we did that during AI times. I think it's uh, AI brings some solutions that would help a lot the business. The business went it lasted 3 to 4 years. We were able to had a first round of funding. We were able to develop the product, but we weren't able to actually build something massive as we thought it would be. And also came the pandemic along um, with that moment. I don't think that the pandemic is the only, or I don't think the pandemic is the main reason why we didn't get a second round of investment, which would help us. But I think we made our mistakes and we made some bets that were not didn't prove themselves correct. But we were able to help some players to find clubs. We were able to help some clubs to scout, and we went to the next journey, let's say like that. So, but again, yeah, it was in a different time, very different than today. Building an app was very different than it was today. Very different. It took a lot more money. It took a lot more people, technical people that didn't understand quite well about football itself, and we needed to to balance those knowledges that we had within our company. And nowadays with AI, everything would be easier, 100%.
Brilliant. Thank you for that brilliant expose. I want to ask a question from where you stopped, which is about
Hmm.
people, in business, because there are a lot of factors of production, financing, talking about funding. Now, people as well, people that would surround you, and it does determine how far a business will go. I, for
Yeah.
once, at the ball business, like we knew the core guys in the company, and I
Hmm.
want to say it categorically: if those guys were not there or are not there at this point or when the business started, I'm sure we'll not enjoy the kind of success that we have today. And of course, my brother that was speaking to you, trying to chase you up, Morris, you can see the dedication that he brings into the company. How do you get the best people to surround you when you are building your business throughout your journey? And what should people look out for?
Perfect. Perfect. First, you need to be very open to finding people that will be able to actually be better than you into your business itself. People that will be able to uh, improve your ideas. And the biggest mistake you can make uh, is only bring people that you think they're gonna do exactly what you're thinking for the business. If you do that, and if you surround yourself by people who are just gonna say yes to you, and they're just gonna do what you imagine, your business will be limited to your limitations. And all of us have limitations. It could be a commercial limitation, it could be a organizational limitation, it could be a whatever. But we all have our limitations, and we need other people next to us. So when we bring people and we actually empower them to bring new ideas, develop our ideas, and even to convince ourselves that our ideas are wrong, that's when we have a living organism as a company. Otherwise, you just have people doing what you want to be done, and you will be stuck into an idea that you had one day. And that's something that happens to all of us. You have an idea, you think it's correct, you think it's going to save the world. And if you don't evaluate it often enough, you will be, whenever you see, you're left behind in the market. So that's why I always like to bring people that have different backgrounds, but strong backgrounds. I like to bring people that sometimes are starting their careers, but are very willing to grow, to work. I mean, and football is great for that because look how many people want to be in football. They want to be in the football
Yeah.
industry somehow. Great people, great people, but they don't know how to enter. Then sometimes they only see clubs as an entrance door for the football business itself. And we try to show them that we're building things surrounding football, working with clubs, working with agents, working with players, and there's a lot to be done. And but it takes good ideas, it takes good execution. So I really, really like, and it's one of the things that makes me more uh, satisfied about business is to see people growing, people developing, people making their own money, and bringing, of course, results to the company and bringing new projects to the company. That's beautiful, and that's something that I always I think that anybody that's starting a business or is thinking about it have that idea of bringing very, very good and qualified people next to your side.
Thank you. Thank you for that one. I'm going to go a little bit back, just very tiny. There's a lot of parents that are agents. There's a lot of people, that ask about business. Of course, I want to believe you have your own consulting business as
Mm.
well. You can Google Felipe Piovesana if you need more information on part of these questions that I want to ask. Everybody wants to play football international. People from Brazil, from Nigeria, from Ghana, from Dubai, even from England. You'll be surprised. They want to play football in US. They want to travel to America to play football. What's that pathway like for them? Or when is the best time for young athletes to come to US to play, and how can they do that? Is it via education or through academy football
Mm.
pathways?
Perfect. I honestly believe we're living golden moments in terms of international pathway for players. And here, I talk about all levels of players. I'm talking about elite players that we watch on TV. on a weekly basis. And I'm
Yeah.
talking about those that are maybe 18, 20 years old, maybe 16, maybe 15, and they're just dreaming and they just want to be developed. They want to be better. They want to experience more. They want to live what football has to offer. I think it's golden times because in the end, I see that there are a lot of programs, there are a lot of clubs that open the doors to international players, and that creates a community and that creates a whole ecosystem of development for everybody involved. I can give you an example. I still work very closely with Cruzeiro, like you mentioned. I've worked I've served as a director of their international academy, and Cruzeiro hosts players from all over the world in different contexts. So we have families that want to send their kids to a different environment. Maybe his kid is in America. So right now in 2026, there's no need, if you have the conditions for that, there's no need for this player to be only developed in America. He can go to Europe. He can go to Europe. He can come to South America. A Brazilian player can go to Europe, can go to Asia. An Asian player can go to the United States. An African player can come to Brazil. Uh, and we have all kinds of projects to host and to accommodate different realities. So, like I said, it can be a family that wants to develop their own kid, wants to invest in their kid, and it can be a government from a country that wants to develop football in their country, wants to reach maybe a World Cup. Maybe they have never been to a World Cup and they want to reach a World Cup, but they don't have a very strong competitive environment. So we take the best players they can scout and we take them to the Brazilian environment, into Brazilian clubs. We take them to Europe if necessary. Uh, so I think that's a pathway that's been growing. We've been doing that a lot, using Brazil, using Europe, using the United States, like you mentioned. The United States also uh, combines that with the academic part, which of course is amazing for a big portion of these players. They're still dreaming to be able to combine the academic aspect, but for each context of player, we have the ability of finding the right project, the right international pathway, and I think that's something that's very good of the time that we're living right now. The possibility of opening doors of the world. I know that sometimes it seems to all of us that the world is in a moment of closing their doors in terms of visa. We see the United States closing a little bit more in terms of visa, some countries in Europe as well, but there are still many, many good opportunity, even in those countries, for players from all around the world, and for projects that want to make sure that players are developed with a more broad perspective of what football is, or what football culture is, because football is very different in Brazil, in Argentina, and in Spain, and in Portugal, and in Croatia, and in Thailand, and in China, and in the United States and Canada. So if you have the ability, if you have the possibility of living a little bit of all of these words, a lot of this context, uh, that's amazing for a player or for a group of players, and even or for a government that wants to invest in their player development.
Whether you're a seasoned agent or just getting started, your next move is BallBridge. Everything you need to operate professionally. Contracts, deals, legal services, client management, all in one platform. Also, if you're an athlete managing your own career, BallBridge works for you too. Built to serve every kind of sport professionals. Sign up at ballbridge.com. Your sport management made easy.
Yeah, I see you mentioned quite a lot of countries, football being different in Brazil, football being different in Asia. You did mention Thailand as well.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm going to retrace back in the business point of view.
Mm-hmm.
For business people or for agents or for consultants or people going into the business of football, how do they target these markets, or how will they determine which market is right for them for their business?
Well, if you're considering the agents and talking about professional players mainly, there's a lot of tools that you can compare leagues, you can compare clubs, And that's also something that the moment we're living now helps a lot. I will use that as I'll use the United States as an example, then I'll go back to Asia as well, as you asked. A few years ago, American coaches for the biggest colleges and biggest college programs or academies or whatever, it was not easy. If you said, look, I have a Brazilian player, the reality is that 15 to 20 years ago, people didn't even have their own highlight videos, which is something very common now, very common now. But 15 years ago, that was not a reality. So coaches needed to rely on people they trusted only. They needed to rely on maybe watching live events. And right now, if you talk to a coach in the United States or a college coach, could be a college coach, not even a professional coach, they have access. So, you have a player from Thailand. I want to see a full video. I want to see where he plays. Oh, that's the club he plays. I can Google. I can find. I can see what's the level. I can compare that to the American level. So that makes it very easier. So coming back to your question specifically, how do you see if Thailand is a good market, if Singapore is a big market, if India is a good by using all these tools to be able to compare leagues, to be able to compare clubs, to be able to compare players that have been to those clubs. But of course, it will all depend on something that's very important. I'm going to come back a little bit again on like people skills, which is the ability of connecting with people from all over the world, understanding different cultures. You can negotiate with an American person same way you negotiate with an African person or with an Asian person, and even in continents, there are so many differences in culture and the way they see football, the way they see business. So it's something that we need to be very open to learning and to, let's say, dancing according to the music, like we say here in Brazil.
Yeah. I was going to go there now. Connections. We hear that a lot in our industry. You say, there's a popular saying that your network is your net worth. And there's these questions whenever we have webinars or even podcasts. They're like, okay, Fumbi, how do I build my contacts? How do I build my connections? For me, my answer, I will ask the question, but I try to always tell them this answer that I believe so that you can also look into it and advise. I always tell them that you need to invest in those connections or invest in the people that you want to get their help probably in future. So for me, that's it. But you have the experience. You've done businesses in America, La Liga, Spain, Brazil, all around the world. What is that single thing or that single model that has helped you build those lasting connections and meaningful connections?
Well, first of all, I agree with your point of view 100%. So I'm just going to add, I agree that we need to invest in the network with the people that we're talking to. What I'm going to add, it's not something that most people want to hear because people want to hear something that they can do right now to create a network right now. And I don't believe in that. I believe in nurturing, like you said, a network. Because in the end, if you try enough, if you prospect enough, if you're able to send a good first message, or if you're able to travel, you will have opportunity of having a network that will start trusting you. People won't trust you right away, but they will start and doing business with you. But so for me, what's more important, adding to what you said, is the ability to deliver what you agree and the ability to bring results to people. Sometimes I think the biggest mistake that one can make when they're trying to build a network is just thinking of what they can get from that network and not thinking about what they can take or what they can then create and take to that network itself. So if I have partners today, like I said, in Thailand, if I have partners in Africa, if I have partners in Europe, it's not because I'm able to ask things for me in a magical way. It's because I'm able to take business to these guys, even from Brazil to Thailand. So many times, one thing that I try to do always is to, maybe it's one of the things that I like the most in doing what I do, is if I have a partner in Asia and a partner in America, if I can create a project that connects both and brings results to both, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Because then I'm bringing very good value to someone in Asia that wouldn't get to that person in America, and vice versa. And that strengthens your network, because people start trusting you. People want to do more business with you, and people refer to you, refer to other people about you, that you can do a good work. So again, anytime that you connect to someone, um, and again, that comes to this podcast itself. You reach out to me. Let's talk. If I just think about what am I gonna get to that, is it gonna be good to me, or if you should do the same, it's not gonna be something that will bring a long term relationship. But if you think that, hey, this can be good for you, this can be good for me, this can be good for another partner that we have. Hey, I have a connection that can help you. So many times we're just helping partners, and business is created from that. So I think in terms of network nurturing, like you said, investing and actually bringing good results to people, more than just thinking about bringing the result to you from that network. I think that's very important.
That was a beautiful expose.
Mhm.
And the biggest thing or the takeout in that is, if you have business or something that could unite a part of your network with another network, and make that into an alignment, that goes a long way. One of the first football connections I had is with a Brazilian, and I think it's a kind of mentality thing. Brazilians love football; they love helping people. His name is Gustavo Spanioli. He used to work with Everton. He's a
Uh-huh.
lecturer, Global Player Solutions. That's his agency. And he was like, Fumbi, you know what? Come over to Everton, come and meet me in my office. Let's do
Mhm.
this. And, introduce me to quite a lot of people, and we try to do business together. And for me, I learned so much from that little connections that we had. And now I can see that is more of like a culture thing. Culture, football is very global, but we have different forms of culture. And yes, some say, okay, these people, they don't do business like this, or their football doesn't suit us. For somebody who has traveled all around the world and does business with a lot of people, how big is that football culture? Say football is one language, football, jogo bonito, and all of those things. But the cultures are different. How
Yeah.
important is it? And how can you, shed more light, and how can help?
Look, I think it might be the most important thing. Culture is something that if you want to do international business somehow, you need to know about cultures. You need to be open to other cultures, and to be open to other cultures is actually to be able to see something very different than what you do, and not consider that as wrong. It's not wrong. It's just
Hmm.
completely different than what you do. It might be wrong for your context, but
Yeah.
it's just another context. So that's the first thing. If you want to do international business, you need to have that ability. And in terms of how big is this football culture, so I mean, as a Brazilian, I can't tell you how many times that when you say you're Brazilian around the world, people just start telling you, "Oh, Ronaldo, oh Pelé." Oh, I mean, that's Brazilian. That's what Brazilian exports to the world. Great talent, great players, Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, Neymar,
Lemar.
Rivaldo, Kaká. These are the guys uh, that make Brazil known. That has been that for decades since Pelé. Uh, so that's very very strong. Culture is something very strong, and we do need to when you're doing international business, especially in consulting. I've helped other consultants from other countries to try to deliver their consultancy in Brazil, and sometimes it's just hard. It's just hard because maybe one thing that is said is understood in a completely
In a
different
different
way.
light. Yeah.
Yeah, and you need to translate, and more than the language, you need to translate the idea, the objective, and the objections as well, right? So culture is something really strong, and I'm really passionate about seeing how you can make business concrete, make them happen, even in different cultures, because you learn a lot. If it's the first time you're doing business or you sign a contract with, let's say, China, you're gonna learn a lot from how they operate, how they negotiate. If you're doing it if you're having a meeting with an American person or with a Brazilian, but it's completely different. It's
It
completely
is.
different. Meetings are different. The way that we speak with each other is different. So that's very, very important. But it's very beautiful to see that the culture of football is so huge. And we are less than a month away from a World Cup.
From the World Cup, yeah.
If you, I don't know if you had you've been to Brazil, right? Is that?
No, I haven't. I
No, you
haven't been to
haven't.
Brazil.
You're
Yeah.
invited, and if you can come during the
Thank you.
World Cup, you're gonna see something that I mean, our culture is we become 100% people. There's a game, people don't work. We're gonna have matches that in Brazil will be like 9 p.m. and
Yeah.
people won't work in that day. That's gonna happen. People won't work. But the game
For
is
the
9
game
p.m. Yeah,
at night.
yeah. People are not gonna work, or if they work, they're gonna leave work at noon.
I
And
can
one
imagine.
can say, but that doesn't make any sense. But in Brazil, it makes a lot of sense, and it's culture. It's the
It's culture.
size. This is how big, and this is how big football is. It's huge. I mentioned Brazil because I'm here, of course, but uh, it is huge in so different ways, in so different places, and it's beautiful. I think it's very, very beautiful. Football culture is beautiful, and I hope that FIFA and players and ourselves that are in the business, we can make that last for decades to come. I hope so.
I, I love this conversation. I love this part of the
Yeah.
conversation, and I'm still going to touch point on that because
Mhm.
for us as a company, we strive on what we call the ball business community.
Mhm.
As you are speaking out, Ado Marcel was giving you thumbs up, enjoying the conversation. He's one of our premium guys. And in the community, we see a lot of questions on credibility, and it goes back to culture as well.
Yeah.
Credibility and culture. You attach a sense of credibility to some certain type of people. I'm Nigerian. I understand our reputation, but we're also one of the most amazing people in the world. In England, I've seen a lot of people say, "Oh, because the guy is British, they are more open to do business with
Mhm.
with them." You know what I'm saying? And whenever you see somebody that is a Brazilian, they believe that person knows so much about football and they want to do football business with those things. And in terms of building that credibility outside of your culture, in a new football market where nobody knows you yet, or they don't know
Yeah.
where you're coming from, or maybe probably I'm on the phone and I don't sound like this, I sound like British. How do you build that credibility outside of those bags that we carry?
For me, it's the same answer that when we talk about building a network. I mean, it's very related because you will only have credibility when people actually believe that they can trust you. They can trust, maybe not you in a personal level, because sometimes you won't even meet someone that you're doing business with, but they trust you in a professional level in terms of if you agree to something, you're going to deliver it. So again, it takes time because people want to see the results happening, and that's normal. All of us do. Um, but for me, it's a lot about that. You can't have credibility if you don't have past projects, and you will only start a new project if someone trusts you for the first time. So when someone trusts for the first time, you need to deliver. And the beauty of it is you will have chances because sometimes a project might go wrong and you're going to need to try again with different partners, in different countries. So you will have second chances and third chances. But uh, anytime you burn a bridge, let's say like that, you lose a lot of credibility. So what you need to do, we need to build bridges. We need to be able to show how serious you are. And like you said really well, uh, it's normal that all of us have um, conceived ideas, initial ideas of this person is from Brazil, so he's probably like that. This person's from the United States, he's probably like that. So many times we need to break stereotypes and we need to break these initial ideas. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's part of our, if you want to work internationally, yeah, you want to be able to to create abilities that sometimes are not very important in your country or in your culture. So, like I said, if a meeting with an American person is very different than a meeting with a Brazilian person. So that
Give
means
us a
that
story. Give
a
us a
story.
story,
I mean,
practical
oh, that's
story.
easy.
Yeah.
Uh, if you schedule a meeting in Brazil
Yeah.
to discuss a project, and if you schedule a meeting in the United States to discuss the same project, and the meeting goes well, and you have next steps for the project, it is very likely that in Brazil that meeting took an hour, and in the United States it took 20 minutes. Very likely, very likely. Because in Brazil we're gonna talk, and we're gonna talk about Neymar. Is he going to the World Cup or not? We're gonna do that. And then in the middle, we're gonna talk about something else. We're gonna discuss this project, but we're gonna talk about another project that we can do. So that has a lot about a characteristic of Brazil. We're very creative. We're very creative. So being creative brings something good, which is the ability of creating new things, but also brings something bad, which is the sometimes the lack of focus in some things. And again, if you're talking to an American, if you're discussing this project, you're gonna get in the meet. The meet is gonna last 30 minutes. You're gonna discuss this project, and that's it. So maybe if you see it from a downside, maybe you lost a few opportunities that in Brazil you wouldn't lose, because you're too focused on that project itself. But if you look at the good side, you're able to make that project happen in a very objective way. So
Brilliant.
that is really something. And you want another story? I'm gonna tell you a good story. Is that
Good.
when I had those consultants that I had helped them, they were in one of the biggest clubs in Brazil. They were in a consultant, and I was translating and helping them with that culture adaptation. They had an assignment, let's say like that, and they agreed. They were in the club, and they were like, okay, so can you guys do that assignment so that the next time we come, that's going to be a month from now, this assignment is done, so we can take this next step. And everybody was like, oh yeah, we can do it. Yeah, we can do it. And they were very happy after the meeting. They were like, I'm very happy because they're going to do it. And I told them, they're not going to do it. They didn't like it. Yeah, they couldn't understand the yes that the Brazilians told them at that moment meant no. And in
Wow.
Brazil, many times in Brazil, we don't say no. It's not a good part of our culture. But we are like, yeah, we can see, yeah, maybe it can happen. Yeah, we'll see that. That means no. That means no,
No.
I'm not
Wow.
gonna do it. But again, if it were an American, a German, maybe they would say, hey, I am not going to do that. And that's how they communicate. In Brazil, the communication was, yeah, I think I can do that. Yeah, whenever you come, we can see that.
But
I
that's not
told them,
happening.
yeah, and they were very frustrated when they came back a month from that day, and they were like, "Man, they didn't do it. They said they would do it." I said, "I told you." It was more no. So that again, that's culture. That's culture, and you learn a lot from culture itself. This same consultants taught me something. I mean, I've never been to Japan, but they taught me something about the culture in Brazil and in Japan, because they were doing a project in Japan and a project in Brazil. So they went from Japan to Brazil, Brazil to Japan, and they were like, you know what? Here, if we discuss an activity, and we say, look, this is an activity. You guys just okay. I'm gonna do it. I need 10 to 15 balls to that activity. Okay. And this consultant told me, if you say that in Japan, it's not going to happen, because they're going to
Wow.
say, wait, is it 10 balls, 12 balls, or 15 balls? Because if you say there's 12 balls, I'm going to write here 12 balls, and there are going to be 12 balls there on the field. In Brazil, we might say, I did 15 balls. Okay, 15 balls. And then when you get to the field, there are 10 balls. No problem. We just, you count,
Wow.
and that works. So again, maybe that has again a lot to do with our creativity and the ability to adapt. So we don't like things very structured. It's culture.
It's culture.
Who is it? Who is it to say that in Japan works best than Brazil, or then Brazil would work better? It's just different. It's just different. And if you work internationally, you need to learn how to adapt to things. So these are a few stories that help illustrate.
That's very lovely, and I'm going to try to use that Brazilian creativity here, because we don't want to take so much of your time. We are going to divert a bit. Let's be creative.
Mm-hmm.
What's your prediction for Brazil for this World Cup?
Oh, Look, I will always, I will always be someone that will say, I mean, I hope always, I hope that in 50 years the same, but I will always uh, r- truly believe that we can win a World Cup. I think that's part of our heritage. I think that's my obligation. I think we need to believe in our team.
National
I will
pride.
always believe, and I will never make a prediction that I can't root for that prediction. So I want to predict Brazil will be the champion because every time that Brazil steps on the field, I will be a fan. I have two little girls. They are 6 and 3, and
Wow.
I'll be teaching them that they have to be very excited about it. They'll have chocolate to watch the game. I don't care. That's it. That's culture. Again, that's culture. They need to see to
Yeah.
know that the World Cup is the best thing, and that we might be frustrated, like we've been in the last. But I mean, I will always believe in Brazilian football. Always.
Yeah.
So
So Nigeria
hopefully
is
it's our
not
sixth.
playing.
Nigeria is not
Nigeria
playing,
is
right?
not
Yeah.
playing.
Yeah.
So Brazil all the way. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So I count on you on cheering for Brazil as well.
fingers crossed.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's creativity. That's the culture of Brazil. Even while we're having a podcast, we can have a few laughs, and I really appreciate that moment. I'm going to ask this question because I did write it down now while you're speaking. You know, those good stories, those opportunities, or the examples you gave with the Japanese story and the one before. How do you now tell the difference between a real opportunity and something that sounds exciting? Not even in that moment, but let's say, for example, I'm speaking or consulting to someone. How do I know that, okay, this in football, this is real opportunity and it's all going all the way?
I don't think my answer is gonna be any exciting, but I mean, you don't. You don't. You
You
just
don't
lose a
know.
lot of time talking about business that never get concrete. That's part of the process. It's like any uh, sales project or sales work. You talk to a lot of people, you make a lot of offers, and just a few will actually go through. And but those few that will actually go through are the stories that we will tell maybe our future generation, maybe or in podcast what we're doing right now. I mean, I've tried
Yeah.
a lot of things that didn't work. I've had a lot of projects that I believe that would be great and never actually went out of the paper. So of course, when you get a little more and more experienced, you start seeing, I don't think that's gonna be anything really good. So I'm not gonna dedicate that much time into it. But in the end, you have to take risks and you have to believe that, okay, maybe. So, I mean, it happens. Maybe I take a plane ticket to travel to the other side of the world. And when I get there, it's not a business that's going to bring any result. That happens, unfortunately. But it goes back on credibility, it goes back on network. When you're talking to people that have credibility with you, you believe it a little bit more. But I believe that we need to be very open to people. We need to always, of course, not only respect people, but also believe that they can deliver what they are saying that they can. And many times, some at the same time that we believe in some projects that don't happen. Sometimes you think that something's not really gonna go through, and it goes. So, but
Which is
so
good.
yeah, question. I would say you don't. So I'm sorry about
You
that,
do.
but in the end, it's just about taking risks and trying to make it happen.
Yes. You know, you did say that with the app, you know, the scouting app.
Mhm.
You did first, and you know that, you know what, this is one, not one of those ones, and let's just leave
Yeah,
it and go to the next thing. It's
yeah.
going to be 10 minutes, two questions, or less
Mhm.
than 10 minutes actually, because I don't want
Mhm.
to take so much of your time.
Okay.
First, there's a culture of you have to, you know, try and nominate someone for us to come to this podcast after you. That will be the thing you will do.
Mhm.
Before then, it will be giving our community, our Ball business community, that one last advice for somebody who wants to start business in football. What is
Okay.
that one advice you would give them?
Okay. So first, you want me to nominate someone right now?
It could be before you answer the questions or after you answer the question.
Well, let me think. I'm gonna think about. Well, I think that's a very good. We're having a very good conversation. I really appreciate that. So maybe you can talk. Maybe you can talk to someone that is within Brazilian clubs. I have a few people that I can suggest that they can talk more, um, more specifically about the development of Brazilian players.
Oh,
So that can be
brilliant.
a whole podcast, and I can refer to some people. Well, I will. I swear you, I can send you a list then of people that will be able to communicate in English pretty well, and to really tell you how we develop players in Brazil. I think that's very strong. And again, I have my own project of bringing groups, bringing people, helping governments to send us their players, and we develop these international players inside Brazilian clubs. I think that's very very important, and so that's why I would suggest someone that can talk a little bit about our development model, how that's different than Euro, how that's different than the United States. So I will definitely um, refer to someone that not only has that knowledge, but that will be able to share that knowledge in English into a podcast such as this.
Good.
And your second question, a piece of advice for someone that's entering the industry. That's it. Uh,
Yes.
I think I might just repeat a lot of what I've said, but I'm gonna put into a more objective way. So first, believe in yourself and in your project, and have the courage to work on it, to actually put your face to it, and actually talk to people. Actually, and the second one would be, uh, we can't take for granted the fact that everything is very globalized right now. So if, again, maybe 15, 20 years ago, we were only talking of, we were, in my former company, my first company, we had a
Yeah.
lot of conversations and meetings inside Brazil. And now in the company there, I think most of my meetings are with people from abroad. So if you're starting now, you need to understand how global the environment is, how global the ecosystem is, and be able to talk to different people, be open-minded enough to learn different cultures, and again, now I'm gonna repeat something that I've said because I think it's very important. Anytime that you talk to someone, don't think only about what he can bring you, but also thinking about what you can take. How can you generate results? How can you create new projects? And I think that's something really important for not only for the business, for the football industry itself, but for business as a whole. So that's my advice.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much,
And of
Felipe.
course, follow
Yeah.
Ball Business podcast. That's a good advice. Yeah.
Thank you. So I was going to say that now. Follow us, like, subscribe, and share. Also join our community. And thank you for staying tuned. It's been really a great pleasure speaking to you. Wishing Brazil to go all the way. And regards to your two beautiful daughters and your family and your business. Thank you.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. It's very good. Wish you all the best as well. And yeah, on July 19th, hopefully we'll have our sixth.
Fingers crossed, my friend. Bye, guys.
Bye bye.